listeners, to another powerful episode of BizBlend. I'm your host, Avik, and today we are talking about a subject that every leader, professional, and I would say change maker needs to hear, which is very simple, like leading from alignment. So, in our fast paced world, leadership often gets measured by the output, profit, and the status. But the true mastery comes when the leaders align with their actions, with their values, with their vision, with their inner truth as well. And how can I forget their habits with the outcomes they truly desire, right? So alignment is not just about a kind of buzzword, but I would say, it's the compass that keeps leadership steady, purposeful, and impactful. So, dear listeners, joining me today is someone who has been guiding the leaders, executives, and professionals into their deeper, aligned way of leading for decades. So, please welcome Barbara Palmer. So, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be here, and I'm looking forward to our discussion.
Great to hear from you again, Barbara. And before we jump into the discussion today, I'd quickly love to introduce you with all the listeners. Dear listeners, Barbara is the CEO of BP Life Coaching Services, a registered and licensed occupational therapist, certified health coach, executive coach, MAP practitioner, and the Mind Movie Method transformational coach. So, with over 4 decades of experience in the healthcare, higher education, and the leadership development, Barbara brings neuroscience, psychology, and the spiritual principles together in her coaching. So, she's also the author of Healthy, Happy, Whole, which is a health and well being workbook. So her mission is very clear, like to help people neutralize the outdated beliefs, nurture the new ones with that serve growth, and create the lives and the careers filled with clarity, joy, and the purpose. So I'll not take much of your time, dear listeners. Barbara, it's really an honor again to host you here, and welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Amazing. So Barbara, like as I mentioned, like today's topic is very I mean great because where we are talking about leading from the alignment. So on that perspective, I would love to ask you, like, when you talk about leading from the alignment, uh, what does alignment really mean in practice for the leaders today?
Well, what alignment means is that the person who is leading from alignment, this is someone who has a high level of self awareness. This is someone who is in touch with their authenticity in terms of what matters to them. Uh, and this is someone who recognizes when they are not in sync with
Mhm.
what is most important or of value to them. Uh, so And one of the ways that they recognize that they're out of alignment is they have an inner discomfort, an inner a lack of peace. And the opposite is true. When they are in alignment, they have a sense of knowing and a sense of peace that they're moving in the right direction.
Understood. Okay. So, what do you think? Like, how can a leader know, like, when they have slipped out of the alignment? Like, even if everything looks successful from the outside.
One of the ways that they can know is recognizing if they are preoccupied with what other people think. Um, that's a sure way to be out of alignment. When you're preoccupied with what other people think, it's where you're in a fear mode. And when you are in fear, you are not in touch with what's going on within yourself, in terms of, once again, those things that matter to you, those things that are important, those things that you want to be known for. It's like how you want to show up in the world. You're totally out of touch with that.
Right. So you're saying like the fear plays a major role here, right?
Yes. When we're in fear mode, and some people look at fear, the word fear, as an acronym, false evidence appearing real.
Mhm.
Uh, and when we are focused on fear, uh, we have more doubts. We have doubts about ourselves. We have doubts about other people. We have doubts about many things, and we tend to focus on problems as opposed to solutions.
Mhm.
Those are some of the things that focusing on, things that make you afraid, or where you're comparing yourself, you're competing. All of those things are, can kind of get a person stuck in a mode of looking outside of themselves and looking at conditions and situations and circumstances and being kind of driven by what's happening outside of them and being totally out of touch with what's going on within them.
Yeah, understood. So for the listeners, definitely I would love to, uh, I mean, make it a kind of short summary. It's the alignment. It's not just about the appearances or the outcomes, but it's all about the deep connection between the values, vision, and the daily choices. So, uh, definitely, thank you so much for sharing that, Barbara. And um, in terms of neuroscience of the leadership habits, you use neuroscience based methods like MAP and also the transformational coaching. So from there, like what does the science of the brain help the leaders break free um, from disempowering habits and build the new ones, the aligned ones? What do you have to say?
Well, there's a few things that I can say. I'll start by saying that the part of the brain that is connected to responding to things as though anything new is a threat. Uh, we talk about the amygdala. It's where, on an automatic level, whenever we're faced with something new, something that, well, and it's new to us, which basically represents almost everything that hasn't happened. you know, Everything that hasn't happened, a part of us can be afraid. Unless we are approaching things from a standpoint of being in our comfort zone. Our comfort zone isn't necessarily a good thing. Our comfort zone is just basically what we've gotten used to. Um, and in order for us to innovate, that means going into unknown territory. And in order for us to be creative, that means using our imagination and going into unknown territory, but imagining what would be possible, looking for solutions. Um, so we want the part of the brain, which the frontal cortex is the part of the brain that is thinking that everything is possible.
Mm,
And so that's the part of the brain that you want to lead with, whether you're, in business or even in your personal life. That's when you're looking at making decisions and, moving forward, you want to be led from that part of you that is believing that anything's possible, and in terms of anything being possible, it's like, even if it's something that no one that has done before. It's like if it's an idea that you have, and it's like, instead of coming from a fear-based, point of view of, you know, no one's ever done this before. How can you do this?
mm,
It is to turn it around and say, what if? What if this is the answer? What if this is a way of changing things for the better, not only for me, but for, for everyone who's a part of my organization? What if this actually would even spill over into a positive impact in the community? What if this would even, make the world a better place? You know, it's like using that frontal cortex. We do that whenever we start considering anything's possible.
I love this perspective of anything possible, and also the frontal cortex about the brain. I'll definitely love to come on this with the another section, which is um uh, I'm coming there, but before that, I'd love to mention this, that it really makes sense because it shows that the leadership growth is not just about learning the new strategies, but it's also at the same time uh, literally rewiring the brain, because we are actually training it. And I think that's really encouraging for the listeners too, as well, because it means those old and disempowering habits are not permanent. And with the right tools, like the neuroscience methods that you use, um, definitely leaders can actually create the new patterns that keep them aligned, purposeful, and also effective in the long run as well. So that's really helpful. And the one which I was mentioning, Barbara, like as you mentioned about the frontal cortex. So um, because we like we often talk about our subconscious, right? And
Yeah.
from that perspective, because I have, no, not completely, but I have read a bit about the subconscious mind and how things process there. And uh, from that perspective, I'm just curious, like, do you think that the leaders underestimate like how much their subconscious beliefs, not just their conscious ones, conscious strategies, shape their leadership outcomes?
I am sure, absolutely sure that the majority of people in leadership and beyond uh, do not understand how powerful the subconscious mind is. I use the analogy to help people kind of start wrapping their heads around things. If they think about an iceberg, most people,
Yeah.
even if they've never seen an iceberg, with their own eyes, they've seen one in a movie, or they've seen, a picture of one, or they know something about the story of the Titanic, where this huge, vessel was basically sunk because it hit an iceberg. So imagine that the tip of the iceberg, the part that you see that is above the surface of the water,
Mm.
that is representing your conscious mind, and that's representing 1/8 of the iceberg. And that the 7/8 that you do not see, that it is submerged beneath the surface of the water, goes down for miles and also can extend out for miles underneath the water. That would represent the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is processing far more um, bits of information that you're responding to things and you don't know it because it's on automatic. That's another thing about the subconscious. It can automate things so that it makes us experience life more efficiently. For example, we don't have to think about breathing. Thank God. We don't have to think about how our bodies need to operate to digest our food, or for us to be able to see, feel, or anything else that we're capable of doing without thinking about it. But the other thing that, the subconscious does while it's managing things and doing things, so that we can focus consciously, it is also a storehouse of data, of memories. It has all the memories from the time that we were conceived. It actually has about what is believed 3 compartments of memories from the time we were conceived to, the time that we were born, from the time just before we were born until we're around 7 years old, and also one from the time that we are born unto the present day. So it's got all these memories 24/7, collecting memories, you know.
Okay.
So just imagine that all of that information and all of those thoughts, because the memories, a lot of those memories are thoughts, are experiences, are stories that we made up as a child. And said this is how life works, whether it was true or not. That's what we thought, and we made up a story about it based on something that happened. And so the more something is repeated in terms of a thought, it becomes a pattern or belief, whether it's true or not. And is experienced as though it is true because it feels true. It feels so strong, the emotions are so strong, that's why it feels true. But just because it feels true doesn't mean it is.
Definitely, Barbara. I mean, I really, I mean, like, we often says that it's the AI era, or AI is there right now. It'll do everything like this and all. But don't you think we already have a natural AI, right? Our brain is the natural AI, and when we talk about the subconscious mind is kind of cloud storage where we process every daily routine which we are doing, or which we are thinking on a daily basis, or we are performing something. Everything is getting recorded via Zoom, just to make it understand, like, I mean, there might be something which is in the medical term or the biological term, I'm not sure, but I mean, I'm just saying in my words, like, via Zoom, it is getting recorded day to day, time to time, each timestamp. And when we think something about this, or some of the situation which happened with us, or we are thinking too much, or thinking about someone too much. So, uh, am I correct? Like, the dreams are also connected with that, because when we dream.
Yeah, all of it. Yeah, all of it. But yeah, anything that we experience, whether we are awake or asleep, your subconscious is involved. Um, yeah, whether with and because it's uh be beyond our awareness, it's like the best we can do is, as we grow in our understanding, that not only is all this information there, the subconscious has the power to automate. So the good thing about this part of us is this part of us has to be on board if we're going to make changes. Because consciously, we're talking about 1/8 of your brain power, right? Consciously,
Yeah.
you cannot make a change or transformation.
Mm.
You can make a decision, which is a great thing. However, you're gonna have to engage your subconscious mind in order for the change to actually happen without being resisted.
True.
And there are ways to do that. And by the way, you cannot trick your subconscious mind. I know that some people may actually say things like that where, you by using affirmations, but even with affirmations, if you use an affirmation, and there is a part of you within your subconscious that is like, that's not happening, you know, if there is resistance within you, what is resisted persists.
Mm.
So, I have no problem with people using affirmations. I just make sure they understand. If you do affirmations, I suggest ask affirmations. That's how I help people use affirmations. What that boils down to is if I say something, I'm following it immediately with a question, such as, so let's say I am, I am leading with alignment. I am always in alignment with my true self. Isn't that wonderful?
Hmm.
Just by presenting that question, your subconscious mind grabs that question and says, of course, this is wonderful. This is possible because that part of you also knows that you are capable of doing anything you set your mind to. So you don't have to convince, your subconscious mind that you're capable. But if you've got some beliefs that are there, that are stored there,
Hmm.
that's where the resistance would come from. And it's in your subconscious mind. It's a program that would pop up.
Yep.
But that question causes another part to come where it's tapping into, hey, anything's possible. It's like remembering, yeah, anything's possible.
Anything is possible. Definitely. I totally agree with this. This is really an eye opening, I'd say. And um, so when we talk about this, I always try to bring some of the contradictory angle as well. Some critics say that alignment sounds idealistic, that
Uh-huh.
at the end of the day, this is just about the results, not the values, right? So, how do you respond to those leaders who think that alignment is a kind of nice to have thing, but not necessary? What do you say?
Actually, I
Mhm.
um would first acknowledge that I can see why they would say something like that. I can actually, I can relate to that. But what that does is, based on what they're saying, what they're revealing is is what they believe.
Hmm.
That is what they're revealing by having that point of view. And by having that point of view, they have trained, whether they know it or not, they have been trained and they are training their subconscious mind to look for ways to justify that point of view because it's their belief. And their belief may be related to, and most likely is related to experiences that they've had, memories that they've had, even possible traumas. And just know trauma in the context of neuroscience is not necessarily talking about trauma like, somebody would experience that has PTSD. It's not that. It's when something happens that you really didn't want to happen and it really upsets you at the time.
Yeah.
That the way that we process memories, we process things that upset us as though they are traumatic. And so we come up with stories and we make decisions and we say that I'm not going to ever do that again or that that is something that it's like absolutely people like that I will have nothing to do with. And it's like we make these decisions in a moment and even a second, in response to something that we're experiencing once again as a child. And that gets repeated as an adult. So, as far as somebody, you said something earlier about, is it possible that there are folks that are leading that are not in touch with, all the stuff that could be influencing them as leaders coming from their subconscious mind? Absolutely. They're being influenced by things that they don't even realize they're being influenced by. They could be even uh, influenced by something that happened at school, the way that, someone who was in a position of authority interacted with them. It could be, from parents or a neighbor or what, it's like each of us we've had so many experiences, but our record keeper subconscious mind has been keeping track of all of it. And it's also, to me, it's inspiring to know that even if a person feels like alignment is impossible, that's an opportunity to inform and to educate and to help them understand that the alignment is an internal thing. It's an internal thing. So basically, when a person says that it's something that may be desirable but isn't practical, they're basically saying that they don't see how a person could possibly be in touch with or have enough awareness to realize when something is happening that is not in agreement with their core values, that the person is out of, that they don't have the awareness to recognize when something is causing them internal discomfort.
Mm.
And I believe that we're more capable than what some people realize. So when we're talking about alignment, we're not talking about what we look like to somebody outside of ourselves. Alignment comes from being in touch with who you are, what's important to you, and being authentic and not pretending to be something that you're not. And when you are, you're out of alignment because you're aware. But if you are not self aware, I would imagine that being in alignment would be kind of a difficult feat to pull off.
Agree with you. Yep. Lovely. So, because the time is constrained, but still, uh, if someone is just starting this journey of alignment, what's the very first step they can take today? What do you suggest?
One of the first steps they can take is to reach out and schedule a discovery strategy session with me.
Sure.
The other thing that they can do is actually uh, be intentional, make a decision that you want to start noticing how you are thinking and how you are feeling, because your average state of mind in terms of what you're focusing on, paying attention to, is impacting how you feel. And ultimately, that can affect the quality of your life and your ability to lead. So, yeah, start paying attention to how you feel. And I do recommend that folks, you can use a journal or just use your phone. Most smartphones have a note feature, where
Mm.
you can just, you know, do, voice to text, or you can actually use your thumbs and just, put some notes in there when you notice things, because what you'll start to notice
Mm.
is patterns, your patterns.
Love it. Really inspiring because it shows that alignment is not just about doing more, but doing what matters the most in
Yes.
simply a way that feels uh, congruent and true. So, uh, Barbara, I mean, this conversation has been such a refreshing reminder that leadership is not just about pushing harder, but it's all about aligning deeper. And
Yes.
uh, also, thank you so much for showing us that when the leaders align values with the vision and habits with the purpose, not only results improve, but the life becomes more fulfilling. So, uh,
Yes.
thank you so much for that. And for everyone who is listening, do ask yourself that am I leading from alignment or am I running on autopilot? The difference could definitely be the key to your next breakthrough in business, relationships, and the well being. And Barbara, if someone wants to connect with you, what will be the great medium to connect?
If they wanna connect with me, I'm at bplifecoach.com, and they can, schedule a discovery session. It's a complimentary 30, minute session, and we can focus on whatever they want to focus on, and they can find out more about MAP and how we can help move them forward.
Lovely. Lovely. Great. So, dear listeners, what I'll do is I'll put all the links into the show notes for your easy reference. And also, please remember, dear listeners, that a healthy mind leads to a healthy life, and the alignment is the bridge between the two. So, with this hope, until next time, this is your host, Avik, encouraging you to step back, realign, and lead with clarity and the purpose. So, thank you so much.
Thank you.